Peter Georgescu fled communist Romania and climbed to the top of the advertising industry in New York. We talked with him about the opportunities he enjoyed, the strengths of the capitalist system he helped drive, and what has changed over the course of his career.
I apprenticed in the research department at young Rubicam, and I ended up running the company. I was the first non-American around me CEO to do that, to be CEO in America. They were not. The immigrants never got to run things in those days.
The contrast between the system in Romania you came from and the one you found in 1954 in the United States could not have been more overwhelming.
It was a stunner. That was the biggest difference. Freedom, kindness of people who reached out. Even there in Romania, everybody was afraid of everything. Because this is what totalitarianism is an insidious disease. You know, it's really strong people, cruel, inhumane, who protect the interests of minorities against the vast majority of the population. And that's what communism really was. It was not an ideology. That was nonsense. There was just the people in power who took it all, who lived well, who got the money, and they were determined and committed to just carry on for the next generation of communism and so forth and so on. And there was no freedom. There was no public good. And here there was democracy, this thing, as I learned way back, the Greeks played around with that. But democracy was about people. That's what it means. It's of the people, by the people, for the people. And we in America have been blessed by geniuses, our forefathers, who believed in a few critical principles that I so embraced. When I learned about them, I said, my God, all men are created equal. These idealistic views of America meant so much to me. And I learned to believe and have faith that I'll be okay in this country.
It does strike me, coming to the United States in the 1950s, there was a time of almost unlimited opportunity, at least for some, as you say. The equality question had a lot of work to be done on it. But unlimited opportunity, and equality of opportunity at least was the goal.
That was the goal.
A lot of people saw it.
Yes.
Do we have that same level of opportunity and equality of opportunity today in the United States as you saw it in 1954?
You know, David, the magical thing is that, as you said, I got to live the American dream importantly because of the time. America, right after the war, was probably for the next 40 years was the best of America. Was the most selfless that America or a country could be, that ever was in the world. And then things began to change slowly. In the 80s or so, business became something else. Business was caring about workers and shareholders and communities and the customer a lot, 4 or 5 stakeholders. And then it all changed. It changed in the early 1980s, and the mantra became the leaders of business and government, the Reagan administration decided we're paying workers too much money. Why do we need that? Let's kill the unions, which they did. Now, unions had some problems, they had to be fixed, it became criminalized, and so forth. So they're not angels. But the idea was, let's take advantage of everything that we can and maximize short-term shareholder values. And let's make the few of us, again, was moving towards the rich people, we'll have our kids well educated and all the rest of it, the hell with the rest of the people. And 40 years of that, and America became the most unequal nation in the world economically, financial well-being. Today, 60% of American people say, I'm financially secure. I'm worried about my existence. In fact, 60% of American families can't put food on the tables or pay their rent most months. and they have to borrow money sometimes. And it's not at the bank, it's private people. It's very expensive. It's tough out there. We have become the most socially inept at their ability to move from one strata of society to the next compared to anybody else in the developed world. And even our education. We invented public education, and yet our kids today are at the bottom of the developed world. So that's what happened in 40 years, driven by business, and the governments did not do enough to fix the problem.
Well, and in some instances, the government may have exacerbated some of that for its own reasons. I mean, we've had a couple of major crises in this century with the great financial crisis in 2008, 2009. The government felt they had to come in and give support to the economy. And then we had the pandemic. Again, the government felt it had to come in. And again, there are reasons for that. At the same time, it did tend to enhance the wealthy and the people, particularly who owned capital, to the disadvantage of the people who did not have capital.
It's exactly right, because there's a fix here. And that's why I'm saying people don't understand that it was the business community that really helped drive this level of inequality in America. And it is business and capitalism that has to fix it. Capitalism is the right engine. Capitalism doesn't care who the beneficiary is, whether it's 20 or 30% of America or the vast majority of America. Capitalism works in China and India. It's a machine. It's having access to capital, access to resources, risk-taking ability. That's what capitalism is. It's not an ethical machine. The only thing he knows is produces wealth and well-being. Now, who benefits from that is the governance. That's it. And we had the wrong version of it. Everything went to the shareholders by design, and it was kept that way. And now it's beginning to change because it has to.
Well, what about that beginning to change? Is it changing, and what is causing it to change?
Well, it has, in many ways, I believe it really must change, because, why am I saying that? The precursor of totalitarianism that I saw in Romania is a large enough minority of people who are undereducated. They don't have the confidence in the society will help them. They become desperate. They become anarchists. And now today, we're seeing lots of those folks who really don't believe that the current system will ever come to help them.
Do you have hope for your children, your grandchildren, that there can be a correction, as you would see it, without the need for that extreme dislocation like you had in Russia, as you had in Germany, as you had in Venezuela?
David, if you would have been cleaning sewers at the age of 10 or 11 and look at yourself today, you have to be an optimist. I am an optimist. There are many good people in this country. I have faith in the heart and soul and values of the people of America. We will maybe muddle through, but we will get through this. I'm positive of this. I see it in the business world. I see some of the best companies in the world today committed to multiple stakeholders, committed to the customer, committed to the workers, committed to the companies themselves to grow and prosper, which they haven't. We milked everything to throw money to the rich and to the capitalism of today, who own most of the wealth in America. So I believe we can do that. I see it happening in today's world. Stakeholders, multiple stakeholder capitalism is not yet at a tipping point, but is beginning to get close. And so I believe this can happen. And I believe the American people are now speaking out and saying, we're not happy here. Please fix it. Our governments, our politicians have got to pay attention to the problem. For 40 years, it was a dirty little secret that the vast majority of America are being oppressed, just as we did to the African Americans way back when. And so those things have got to be brought to the daylight, and I am convinced in my heart, and I'm beginning to see that, we're beginning to say, hey, we got to do something dramatically different now to fix the problem. We got to educate kids. How can America have among the least educated kids in the developed world. How can that be, this rich, wealthy country? How can we have the homeless sleeping on the streets? How can we have 60% of America who said, I can't put food on the table at the end of this month? That's not right. So I am optimistic. I see it beginning to happen right now, right here and now. I see many people of goodwill. And I don't want to disparage the wealthy, because the wealthy have always been and are plenty generous. But they alone cannot fix the problem. Nor can the government. Business can and must lead the way. So I'm optimistic because I'm an ex-businessman. I've been on lots of public company boards. And I see the tide is beginning to turn. People get it. And I'm really optimistic about the future of America. Yes, I am.